The J. Michael Show.
Welcome to another episode of The J. Michael Show. We've got a wonderful guest for you tonight, and we'll get to her in just a moment. But first, as I always do, I want to remind you to subscribe to the show, follow the show, like and comment wherever you're getting it, be it audio and video or just audio. That's fine. We'll have links from our guest under the show also. Be sure to check those out. And our guest this week is Avalynn Ly. See, I got all tongue twisted on me. Avalynn Ly is her name, and she is a musician in Texas. We're going to talk with her. Hello, Avalynn. Did I say it right?
Yes, it's Avalynn. Hey, Jay, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being my guest. Thank you so much. Wow, you know, I was looking at your name, and I was going, how does she pronounce the L-Y? Is it Lee or Lie or what, you know? And it got me thrown a little bit on the name. How long have you been a musician?
Oh, gosh. Man, I've been writing music since I was maybe like 9 or 10. It started off as really just like dad angsty poetry when I was just a little bit younger. And then I actually taught myself how to play the guitar so that I could put that poetry into lyrics and into songs. And so I've been writing songs ever since, I would say, presentable songs since high school. So a decade and a half now. I mean, I'm aging myself, but
and are you're originally from Dallas? Are you still in the Dallas area?
Yes, so born and raised in Dallas, but I currently live in Houston, but I have been a Texas girl my whole life.
Okay. All right, tell me about your approach to writing music. What inspires you?
Yeah, great question. For me, I think I am first and foremost a lyricist. The words come first to me for most of my songs. I think the songwriting process is just so different for everybody. And, you know, it parts of a song come so differently to everybody. But for me specifically, I tend to get a line or two that I really like, and it just kind of like sticks in my mind. I might write it down somewhere, put it down on my phone, and eventually come back to it. Things that inspire me are usually things that happen to me in real life. Relationships, be they romantic relationships, platonic relationships. I write a lot about my family as well. And even things that happen to friends of mine, and telling kind of their story in a way. And so I'll have a line or two that I really like, and then I'll get inspired by something that happens to me or someone I know, and then I come back to it, put the words together, and, you know, the song may go on a shelf for a little bit longer until I come back to it and kind of put some chords and some music and some melodies to it. And, you know, eventually you get to a song. Now, whether or not it's a presentable song is a different story, but that's usually how it goes. Words first, music later.
Okay, well, you said a presentable song. How do you define what's presentable?
I think any songwriter or even creator will tell you that, you know, you create a lot of things, you write a lot of things, right? But only a small fraction of the things that you create are something that you would be proud to put out for other people to see or hear or listen to. And so I will attest to the fact that I have a guitar case full of lyrics that I wrote that may never see the light of day. I have, you know, phone notes, and my my voice recording app has tons of stuff on it that I don't know. I mean, if we get lucky, if I find the inspiration to put it in something that is presentable, then great. But I think all artists can identify with the fact that like probably 80% of the things that we come up with may not ever see the light of day.
Right, right. So you decide on a song, you like it, you think it's presentable, and do you go in immediately and record it? Do you work on it for a while? What's your procedure there to go from inspiration, writing, and then recording?
Great question. It definitely depends on the song. There are songs that I started the seeds for years and years and years ago, and have only just now gotten around to recording it, producing it, and getting it to a point where I can put it up for people to listen to. Meanwhile, there are other songs where I will sit down and put the lyrics down, put the melody down, and have it all done in 40 minutes. And then it's just, a matter of getting it produced and recorded and mastered. Like I said, usually the words come first, and I have a habit of letting things kind of sit on a shelf and marinate for a little while.
Right.
I think it was Ernest Hemingway that once said, you write drunk and you edit sober. And so for me, I write when I am, in the middle of all those emotions, and I just kind of let all the words bleed onto the page. And then I am able to take a step back, come back, edit through it, rewrite some lines, put the music to it. And when I write the melody, sometimes there's some lyrical changes as well. And it wasn't until recently that I was able to get a producer who is helping me really put together my demos into something that I can really be proud of showing off.
Right. So how would you describe your music? What genre do you think you fall closer to?
Yeah, I would say that I'm a little bit of a mix between singer-songwriter, folk pop, and a little bit of country. A lot of my inspiration for my writing was taken from like the power pop girls of the early 2000s. So we're talking, Shania Twain, Sheryl Crow, Michelle Branch. Those ladies are my inspiration. So that is the direction in which I lean.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So do you do cover songs occasionally?
Yes, absolutely. Writing comes in waves, and I think a lot of artists can also relate to that, where, sometimes you're just writing and writing and writing, and you have all this material, and then you'll go weeks, months without really being able to come up with anything. And I find that doing cover songs, I can make them into my own. I can, feed off some inspiration from some artists that are already established, and that really helps me stay inspired and stay on top of, practicing my guitar and all of that. So yeah, I love doing cover songs.
And do you do busking? Where do you perform at?
So I don't think that I have come up with the courage quite yet to busk, but I feel like that takes a lot of cojones, and, more power to all the artists who do that. I am not good enough or, brave enough quite yet. But I do perform at a lot of open mics around town, and there's a lot of music venues there's a live music venue near downtown that I recently performed at. I am one of the So Far Houston artists. So Far is a community that puts on shows around town, and they have local artists come and perform. So I'm one of their, artists in residence. And so that's usually where where I've started, is just really small, intimate local shows.
You've got several songs, beautiful songs, by the way, out there. Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about Call It What You Want. Tell me, where did that song come from, and what was the inspiration for it, and what's it about?
Thank you so much for asking me about that. Call It What You Want is actually a little bit of a deviation from what I usually write. I do call myself a pop girly, but Call It What You Want is quite poppy. It is very song of the summer, blast it with the windows down, riding down the highway type of music. And I always joke to my family and friends that I don't often write happy songs. What inspires me often isn't positive emotions. I'm usually more inspired to write when there is something negative happening. And so Call It What You Want is a deviation in that way. It is about a, situationship back when I was single. There was someone that I was really, really into, and he liked me, but he didn't quite want to put the label on it yet. And so Call It What You Want is an anthem of, I'm okay with whatever this is as long as you'll let me be and bask in your presence. It's that kind of song, and it's really fun. And that person and I are still friends today. He's a great sport about the song, and he knows. But it was a really fun song for me to write, and I wanted to really focus on the percussion and the clapping in that song, just to really bring a happy poppy vibe to it.
Cool. So it's kind of about a commitment issue, right?
Yes, on the other person's side.
Okay.
It was me, but this time it was him.
All right, Good at Heart. Tell me about that song.
Oh, goodness. You are going to get all of the history into my Hinge dating.
Yeah, go for it. Tell us.
So Good at Heart is definitely more along the lines of what I usually write and the sound that I usually go for. It's got this early 2000s pop rock kind of girl singer-songwriter vibe to it. And it is also about a situationship where the other person can't commit, but in a much more negative way. This person was not quite as nice as the other one. And it's about, you pouring your heart and soul into someone that keeps telling you, yes, we're going to make this work. Yes, I really like you, but I want this to work. You just have to give me a little more time. And someone who keeps stringing you along and stringing you along and stringing you along until one day you realize, oh, wow, I've really wasted all this time. And it's the epiphany that someone was, kind of lying to you the whole time. And it's not a very good feeling.
When you realize it's never going to work.
Exactly. And all the things that you built this person up to be, someone who was kind and honest and good at heart, really kind of wasn't. And it's that type of song is coming to terms with all of that.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned that you occasionally do country music. Give me an example of a country song.
That I wrote or that I cover?
Both. You tell me.
Great question. I do a lot of covers of country songs. There's a song by Kelsea Ballerini that I really like. Gosh, what is the name of it? There's a oh gosh, the name escapes me at the moment, but there's a Kelsea Ballerini song that I just love covering. And my best friend who still lives in Dallas and I learned Leave the Pieces by the Wreckers way back in high school, and it's still one of my favorite songs to sing and cover. And as far as writing goes, my latest single that I just released is called Riding West, and it is heavily influenced by country music, namely people like the Dixie Chicks or the Chicks, and like a Sheryl Crow, Maren Morris kind of sound.
Yeah, I was going to ask you next. That was the next one, was Riding West. Tell me about that song and how did it come about and what it said about.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that you asked me about this because it is such a deeply personal song. This was about a relationship that I was in for several years, and it didn't work out. And part of how this all ended was this person ended up moving out to Louisiana, actually, so like way far out west. And at that point, kind of any thoughts of trying to make the relationship work or, you know, getting back together kind of like went out the window because long distance wasn't going to work for either of us.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly afterward, I was planning a trip out to West Texas, where I visited, Big Bend National Park. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's stunning.
Yeah.
And close to that is Guadalupe Mountain National Park. There's White Sands National Park in Carlsbad Caverns. And through Texas, there's an interstate that runs from Florida to California from east to west, and it cuts right through Texas. And it is an interstate called I-10. Funny enough, the largest section of it has, I think, I want to say 14 or 15 lanes, and it is actually in Houston, Texas. And that is the largest interstate in, I think, the entire United States. Fun fact about I-10. Regardless, it was me driving west on I-10, which takes you out to West Texas, that I kind of thought to myself, wow, this is like the exact opposite direction that this person drove to get to Louisiana, because it does also go out to Louisiana. And, I recalled several conversations I had with this person about, dating new people and, coming to terms with things that had happened in our relationship that weren't very healthy. And there are, little Easter eggs that allude to certain things that happened in that relationship that are within the lyrics of the song. And it was me going west on I-10 that inspired me to write the first lines of that song, which became the chorus, which is, you called me going east on 10 to say it ain't the same. And that's how that song started.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about you yourself. You are a physician assistant when you're not writing music, right?
Correct. I do have a day job. The music's not paying the bills quite yet.
And it also says that you're an actress and a dancer. What have you acted in?
Yeah, so acting is actually a pretty new thing that I'm getting into. I've always enjoyed being in theater, and I was in a couple of plays when I was younger in high school, and once right out of grad school. But I kind of wanted to take it to film and just kind of see what I could do. And so it wasn't until I think earlier this year that I started taking acting lessons, and it is just so much fun pretending to be somebody that you're not, and making up stories in your head and being able to just portray that for an audience. And so recently I've been cast in a couple of short films. One of them is filming this weekend. It's called The Last Night Out. There's another one that's filming in September called Lisa's Back. And then there is another one that's also filming in September, and the project is yet to be named, but I have a couple of short films coming up, and it's just a lot of fun. It's just something else to let that creativity flow.
Can you tell us about the characters that you're going to play in these films, each one or one of them, or how much can you reveal about this project?
Yeah, so the one that's filming this weekend is actually going to be a horror film. So that's a lot of fun, because one of my favorite genres is horror followed by comedy. So this is like right up my alley. So I play the comic relief of a group of friends who wander out into the woods and get into all sorts of trouble.
Okay. And the other one, is there a character in that you want to tell me about?
Yeah, so in Lisa's Back, it is a drama actually between two people. So it's just me and my scene partner the whole time, and it is about this character Lisa, played by me, who comes back after a long period of time of being away and has some family secrets that she needs to talk through with the other character. So It's very, very dramatic. Lots of secrets, lots of interesting dynamics.
Yeah, I really look forward to that. I think it'd be wonderful seeing you on screen.
Thank you.
Okay, so are you currently working on an album or an EP or something of that nature? Is that coming soon?
Yes, thank you for asking. So, my next single is going to be released on September 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I should have my fifth song ready to go, and that will complete my five-song EP.
Mm-hmm.
I do have enough I have enough material to make an album. So I'm really, really hoping that by sometime next year, I will have my full album out. But my goal is to release my full EP by the end of this year.
Okay. Fantastic. So this next song that you're working on now, do you have a title for it yet?
Yes. So it is already recorded. It is ready to go. I'm just waiting for September 26th to roll around. This song is called Nowhere by Myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an introvert's anthem is what I call it. It's for all of my friends who feel antisocial, who feel like they have imposter syndrome, and feel much more comfortable tucked up in bed by themselves instead of out partying. So that's what that song is about.
So is it like rock, pop? What genre does it fall into?
Yes, so it falls more back into the pop rock with a little bit of country influence. I would say it's much more in line with the sound of Good at Heart than it is with the other songs that I have out right now.
Okay. So what are your goals? I mean, what do you want to go in the direction of a pop star or country star, or what are your goals and how are you setting those?
That is such an insightful question. My goals, honestly, when I started this whole thing, my goals were just to finally have something that I was proud to show people because, like I said, I've been writing music for, 15, 16 years now. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until this year where I really had things that I felt really good about showing people. And so really my goal was just to say, here, I write songs and I kind of like them, and maybe you'll like them too, and just show them to whoever wants to listen. If you were to ask me 15 years ago, yeah, of course I'd want to be a pop star. Uh-huh. I think that life has taken me down a couple of different roads. Mm-hmm. But whatever happens. I mean, if I'm able to build an audience that resonates with my music, amazing. If I just have a Spotify link to show my friends, that's awesome too. I just love to, share my music. And that is my only goal, is just to share my music and hope that someone out there identifies with the feelings that I wrote into that song and resonate with my music.
So do you want to give up the physician assistant job and go into this full time? Is that your plan?
Ooh, that would be a hard decision to make. I don't think I see that in my future quite yet. Mm-hmm. Of course, if the music paid the bills, absolutely. But at the same time, I do love what I do as a day job. I work in surgical oncology as a physician assistant. I love my patients. I love the interactions that I have. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to do both right now.
Mm-hmm. You are a self-taught guitarist. You said you've been doing that for quite a while now. Was it difficult to learn the instrument? And do you play any other instruments?
Yes. So I started playing the violin when I was 9. Mm-hmm. Granted, I don't play it very much anymore. I still have it somewhere around here. I'm pretty sure the E string is popped and one of the pegs is slippery. But I do technically still have the skill to play the violin. I pull it out every 2 years or so to make sure that I still have it somehow. Mm-hmm. I do actually play the violin, and that was a transferable skill to when I picked up the guitar. It was quite difficult. So the violin, for those who have never seen or picked up a violin, it has a very small fretboard, and the strings are very close together, and you have to be very precise with where you put your fingers. On a guitar, however, the fretboard is much larger, much wider. The strings are much further off of the board. and you don't have to be as precise with your finger placement. And so there were some things that took a lot of getting used to. And even now there are some more difficult chords where I have no idea like where I'm supposed to get a sixth finger to play the chord. So I still, have a lot to work on. But I do remember the calluses and the pain in my wrist and my hand and my fingertips when I was first learning the strength to hold down some of those chords. But the music theory from orchestra and playing violin definitely kind of followed me over.
Yeah. When you're recording, do you have a band that you play with, other musicians? Just tell me about your recording process.
Yeah, great question. So I unfortunately do not have a band. I wish I did. That would be amazing. So currently all of my live performances are acoustic performances by just me. Mm-hmm. But I mentioned earlier that I have a producer. His name is Dario Marcello, and he is wonderful. And so what I do is I send over my demo tracks to him, and my acoustic guitar part, any sort of supporting guitar part that I have written that I want included. And I'll send it all over to him, and I'll tell him kind of what I'm looking for, what instruments I want, what the feel I want is, and he will send me back a fully instrumented track. Mm-hmm. And from there, we spend several weeks going through what I like, what I don't like, what I want added, what I want taken away. And when we get the instrumentation down, then I go back and I re-record my vocals. First, the melody, the main melody. Mm-hmm. And then I go and I write several harmony parts, usually 2 or 3, depending on the song, where in the song, what type of harmony is needed. And that takes, if anyone's ever recorded before, you're, maybe familiar with stacking vocals. And so I don't sing everything one time. I sing everything at least 3 times. Mm-hmm. So for, a vocal part that is 1 melody and 2 harmony lines, I am recording 9 different tracks and sending them all back over to my producer to mix and master and put together. And then we do a couple more tweaks and then it's ready to go.
Wow. So you never actually see the other musicians that's on the track. Have you ever met them?
No, I have not. Dario actually lives in Italy, if you'll mm-hmm. believe it or not. Wow. And he is phenomenal at what he does. So no, I've never met him, and he plays most of the instruments. If he uses anyone else, I also have not met them. But Dario does wonderful work, and I'm so happy with the instruments that he plays and what he comes up with as a producer.
So when you're performing live, do you bring that track and play to it as a backtrack? Do you do that?
No, I don't. So all of my performances are just live acoustic performances. It is truly just me, my voice, and my guitar on stage, which it's kind of scary now that I've put out these tracks that are fully backed by instrumentals. But at the same time, these songs were written by just me, my voice, and my guitar. And so right now, when I go and play a show live, the way that I play the song is truly the way that I wrote it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really special for it to be super stripped down to just like how the song truly formed when it was first, written.
Okay. All right. I was just going to kind of go in a little bit of a different direction then again. And tell me about you if someone were to describe you, how would they describe you? What do you think they would say?
It's so funny because I actually talk about this in my single that's coming out on September 26th called Nowhere By Myself. Mm-hmm. I get told a lot that I come off as very outgoing and bubbly and charming. Uh-huh. So those are the descriptors that I get a lot.
But do you think that that's accurate? Do you think that that's accurate? Do you say, well, yeah, that's me?
You hit it on the nose, my friend. So again, going back to the song, that's what it's all about, right? Is feeling like those are absolutely not the descriptors used that I would use to describe myself. Everyone is always very surprised to learn that I consider myself an introvert. You know, any sort of social interaction takes some mental preparation and then some recovery time afterward. And so, you know, I am able to put on what I need to get whatever that needs to be done. But ultimately, I do feel that I am lower key and more introverted than people who have just met me would say that I am.
You know, it's interesting because most really good artists will tell you they're introverts. And it's hard to believe that, you know, when you see an actor or an actress on screen, or they seem so out there. And then you find out, you know, that no, actually they're very, very introverted. So you fit right in that. You fit perfectly into that category.
Hey, I hope that makes me a good artist.
Well, I think it does. It says something about, I think that if you're writing music, specifically a songwriter, you have to be able to go inside. You know, you have to be able to go within and find that. And if you are the bubbly, outgoing, non-introvert, you know, then that retrospective might be a little bit more difficult. So I think that it's really a plus for a singer-songwriter. When you were younger, did you see yourself, like you said earlier, you wanted to be a pop star? Did you see yourself as a singer-songwriter? At what point, when did that evolve, that you wanted it to be deeper?
Yeah, so I thought for a long time in my teenage years even that I would go into music as a career. My family, my parents are actually first generation immigrants from Cambodia. And so the thought of me going into a non-STEM field terrified them, and understandably so. And so I ended up actually putting music on the back burner when I went to college.
Right.
I got my degree in neurobiology. And even when I went to grad school to get my master's of physician assistant studies, music was kind of on the back burner, but it's something that I've always loved, right? Like I've always loved singing. And even when I went through hard times, in college and in grad school, I would find myself writing. And so when I was done with my education and when I had an established career that I felt steady in, it was very natural for me to come back to music in my downtime and do something with it. And now as an adult, I can, you know, hire a musician if I want. I can hire a producer if I want. And those were all things that I would not have been able to do when I was younger if I weren't fortunate enough to also be working a day job. I always tell people that my dream job would actually be a songwriter in the background or as a background like studio singer. I think at some point, probably in college, I realized that being in the limelight, like, just really wasn't for me. Hence, you know, the introvertedness. I think that would kill me, being in the spotlight all the time. And so I would, you know, my dream job in a different universe would be to, you know, be able to sing and write, but not have to deal with all of the weirdness that comes with being famous.
Right. Okay, and wow, it's just, you're amazing. I mean, it's interesting talking to you.
That's so kind of you.
Yeah, you are bubbly. You do come across as that way. You know, yeah, you kind of like to do the little sweet look there. Actress, dancer, you play open mics. You have an album that you're working on. Is the songs that are on your EP going to also be on the album, or are you going with completely new and different stuff?
No, the plan is to include the songs on my EP also in the album. And this will really be the first album that I put out. All of these songs are probably the most recent, for the most part, the most recent songs that I've written. The secret is I actually have enough for a second album based on some older music that I wrote that I still really love and still really resonate with, that I would be proud to put out. And so the plan is, hopefully, if everything goes as planned, once I release that first album, that first full album, I'll be able to go back and record things that I wrote from longer, further back, because I have enough for a second album for kind of like old Avalynn.
Wow. Wow. So how often do you write a song? You said you have enough for 2 albums, and you've been writing for a while now. So how often do you write a song? And specifically, one of the ones that you consider to be a good song that you want to keep. How
Sure.
often does that happen?
Oh gosh, I think it really depends on the season of life. Late last year, I wrote maybe 3 or 4 songs in a 2-month span. And then this year I've written maybe 1 or 2, in the 8-9 months that it's been. So it truly depends. And again, with my songwriting process, sometimes you just write something and then it kind of goes on the back burner and then I come back to it later. So there's probably 2 or 3 songs that are kind of mingling in the back of my head right now that I plan on coming back to when the inspiration hits me again. But again, my phone is just filled with all sorts of like voice memos and lyric memos. So it's really hard to put like an average quantity on it because it's just it just fluctuates so much. I would say I'm pretty proud of like 80% of the songs that I write. Sometimes I'll write a song and I think it's really good, and then I'll write a couple more, and then I'll come back to that first one and be like, actually, that's going to go on a B-side somewhere.
Do seasons and the weather have an effect on when you're ready to write a song? Do you feel like you write better in the autumn or in the spring or summer, or does that have an effect on your songwriting?
I think in a small way, it really does. Granted, living in Texas, we don't really have seasons. We just have like hot and hotter.
Yeah.
But, there will be like a really cozy rainy night where I don't want to do anything except cuddle up with my guitar, right? Or there'll be like a really gorgeous spring day where I just want to sit outside on my guitar. So there are certain patterns in which I am more inspired to sit down and really try to connect with my music and whatever I'm going through than, if it's 105 degrees outside and 100% humidity. I don't really want to do anything. So.
Yeah, exactly. So also another question would be, do you do TikTok? Do you do live streaming? Do you play like that sometimes?
Yes and no. Live stream, I haven't quite gotten the hang of yet, but I do really like to make little videos that accompany my songs that go kind of into the behind the scenes of it all. My general rule of thumb is I don't really want to put anything on social media that I wouldn't want to see. And this kind of goes back to not really wanting to be an international superstar. I think there are a lot of ways that music marketing has changed over the last decade, 2 decades. And there's algorithms and there's meta ads and there's campaigns and playlisting and all these things that when I started this journey, I had no idea about. And I still mostly don't know anything about. But I have a rule that if I don't want to see it, I'm not going to put it out. And so there's a lot of ways that you can post on TikTok, 3 times a day and get picked up by the algorithm, but right. I don't really want to do that. And so, yes, I have a TikTok. Do I post to it? Not really. I post mostly to Instagram, and, my 50 closest friends see it, and like that's about it. But that's okay because ultimately it's kind of like my own diary of my own songwriting process that I want to keep. So
Right. But now, for Riding West, you did shoot a music video of that, right? Tell me about shooting that and how that came about.
That wasn't so much of a music video as much as it was a compilation of that West Texas trip that really inspired me to write the song. And funny enough, it was later on that year that I wrapped up the song when I went back out west to Utah, and I did a 2-week solo trip out through all of the national parks in Utah. So it was like a really it was a kind of like an eat, pray, love moment for me. I turned 30 and I took myself on this 2-week hiking trip through Utah. And it was a moment in time when I found that I was stronger than I thought I was, and was able to do these things that I never thought I'd be able to alone also. And so there's pictures from Utah and pictures from West Texas that I have put into like a little lyric video that you can find on YouTube.
Wow. Okay. Well, I was going to ask you if you had plans on for this album for doing any music videos for it.
That's a great question. It is something I absolutely aspire to, especially now that I'm meeting all of these filmmakers, producers, writers, all that stuff through, my acting as well. So it's something that I would love to be able to do. I haven't quite gotten the plan down yet, but I'm hoping that in the future it is one of the projects that can come along with a new single.
Wow. Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you on video or perhaps in person in Texas. You're in the Houston area, so do you have any concerts coming up, someplace you're going to be playing?
I do. The day that my single drops, I will be playing an outdoor show in the neighborhood of the Heights in Houston. It's technically a secret show, so I can't say anything more about it. But I will be playing that show and hopefully soon at a couple of other venues.
Okay, so that's when your new album or your new single drops in September. Anywhere else someone in the Houston area can see you?
Yes, I go to a couple of open mics. I love the Plug and Play group. They put on some amazing open mics, and you can catch me around town during various weeknights wherever they're putting on open mics as well.
Okay. And if someone wanted to book you for a show, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can always reach out to me on Instagram at avalynn.ly or email me, avalynlymusic@gmail.com. I'm pretty responsive. So yeah, I would love to hear from anyone who wants to reach out to me for, any sort of inquiries.
Do you do Facebook?
I don't do Facebook, but I probably should.
You should have a page at least. Yeah.
Really should. Yeah, Spotify has told me that I need a Facebook page too, so I guess I'd put it on the list.
Yeah. But Instagram is a great way to get in touch. That's how I found you, was on Instagram.
You got it.
You have a wonderful page there, and you do a lot of great cover songs. Again, before we go, I want to get you to tell me about how you choose a cover song and how you decide, that you want to cover that song. Is it because it's easy to play, or is it because it's special to you?
It is kind of a mix of both. So I really, whenever I pick a cover song, I always want to make sure that it's something that I can see myself like really jamming out to, something that really connects to me in some way. But I also want to be able to make it my own. I never want to just, take a cover and play the song just exactly as is. I always want to put my own little flair to it. So it's always important to me that I know that I can do a little twist to it, a little special something before I cover it.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to put links under this video and the audio from the show to your Instagram and to your YouTube. And where can someone, when your album is out or your EP is out, where would someone be able to find that?
You can find my music anywhere that you like to stream music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, anywhere you can stream music, I'm there. I also try to make a lyric video for every single that I drop, so you can always just look at YouTube and find a lyric video of mine.
Wow. Spotify. Yeah, that's popular. Okay, It has been so much fun talking to you and learning about your career. This has been a great show. I've really enjoyed having you on, and thank you so much for being a guest on my show.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all mine, Jay. Thank you so much for your awesome and insightful questions. It's so much fun.
You're welcome. Okay, we will see you next time on The J. Michael Show.
Goodbye.